Are things a little bit sad around the Boston Celtics? Plus, if I was a Portland Trailblazers fan, I'd be really angry at Anfernee Simons. We'll talk about it all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT, Karalis. Recap the madness every game, every practice. Prime time, Depp and D White on the sideline. Rain and Jace, how it started, raising business, how we finished. Locked on Celtics pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. Your team is the Boston Celtics, and I talk about them every Monday through Friday. It's a free podcast. It's available everywhere podcasts exist. It's on YouTube, so you can get in there and get into the comment section, share your thoughts with your fellow everydayers, the people who are with me every Monday through Friday. And with me, I'm John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I've written a couple of books about the team. I'm doing a version of this job for about 20 years or so. And this time my job is taking me to Celtics training camp, where they've had a couple of practices. And it's just, I think the word of the camp is pace. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Joe Mazzulla and his impact on the new guys. We'll talk about Anfernee Simons and why, if I'm a Blazers fan, I would not want to be paying attention to what Anfernee Simons is talking about. But let's get to a couple of early takeaways here with Tom Westerholm. Tom, how are you?
I am good, man. How are you?
I'm great. You can find Tom Celtics work at boston.com. Tom, we're a couple of days into camp. The Celtics actually have an off day on Thursday. So this is just a kind of process everything. Maybe there's a film session. Guys are going to be in the gym. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of individual work, but it's a chance to take a little bit of an assessment quickly. Do you have any big takeaways from the early going of Celtics camp?
Yeah, I mean it's such a strange vibe in the start of this camp. I mean it's such a strange. It's going to be such a strange season, right? And I think that you get a weird, like, I think everything feels very uncertain right now. There's just nobody knows what to make of anything. Everything, these guys are all getting to know each other. I think to me, the biggest quote, like the most, I think the quote that kind of captured the vibe the best was Jaylen talking about, it feels a little bit sad around here right now. I miss Jaylen, paraphrasing, like I miss Luke Cornett, the guy just gotta, like, there's a bunch of guys who are gone. I miss Kristaps Porzingis, right? Like a lot of guys are not here. It feels different. And I think that
it's like the Wolverine meme of him laying in the bed with the picture frame. And it's just like Luke and KP and Drew. And he's just like, oh,
yeah, exactly. And I think that it was, this part of the season was always going to feel like this, right? That was always going to feel a little bit just like, well, this is different.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. So I mean, I think it's interesting, and I mean, I know we can get into it, but like, I think that it's very possible and very, I think it's very possible that this could turn very quickly into not sad, right? Like, I think it's important to remember that. I think, Brad always talks about never get too high, never get too low. And I think that's really important right here, right? Because it's like, we don't know what's going to happen this season. It's going to be weird. We know we can make like a lot of very educated guesses as to what's going to happen this season. But like, as of right now, it's fine to feel a little sad when you look out there and you don't see Drew Holiday and you don't see Kristaps Porzingis, if that makes you sad. I know a lot of Celtics fans have kind of soured on him pretty quick, but it's fine to look out there and feel sad that Luke Cornett isn't out there. But things, I mean, it's a long season. A lot of things are going to happen, and like, there will be some good, some bad, but like, there could be some good. This could be a low point. Like, this right now, before games even start, could be the low point when you don't see Drew Holiday out there. I don't know. That's my big takeaway, is just how early it is, how uncertain everything is at this stage.
Yeah, the Jaylen quote from the from media day where he says it's a little bit sad. A lot of the guys I spent a lot of time with, we had such a great group over the last couple of years. To see them not be around anymore, obviously is going to have an effect on our team. But we've got 5 new players that we've got to get onboarded and acclimated into the system. So there's the original, like, things were so good. And you know what? Things were really good. Things were great. And
things were better, even. I think we can barely say that quite confidently.
And like even Brad Stevens acknowledged that. Like the guys that they had in the locker room the past 2 seasons, good guys, quality people, good. Like the locker room was as positive and uncontroversial a place as you're going to find in the NBA, a league that thrives on petty crap. That's, everywhere you look, people are taking shots, and there were no shots being taken.
No,
in the Celtics locker room. But all of these great people are gone. And that's, Drew, KP became one of Jaylen's great friends. Al Horford.
I didn't even say him. Yeah.
Yeah. We're seeing him being introduced in Golden State with like wearing a Golden State jersey. And it's like watching that, you're like, God, that looks so weird. But it's just, you gotta get past it, because as Jaylen said, there are 5 new players that you have to get onboarded. You have no choice. I think last year was such an aberration that, it was easy for guys to kind of let their guards down a little bit. What happened this past off season is normal. That's normal NBA stuff.
It's going to get more normal too.
Yeah, it's going to get a lot more normal. But having 5 guys come in and be new guys, that's how the league generally works. And, on top of it, having your one of your superstars start the season, watching from the sidelines. So, I think that's a great place to start, because this is such a different training camp. You're on top of learning all of these new guys. They're learning a new style of play. Like, this is a completely new Boston Celtics. They're playing faster. They're not playing the same style of offense. Yeah. They're not playing the same style of defense, which we'll get to in a second. But like the defense that they played before, you can't play the same style. So everything about how they're playing on the floor, there's some carryover, but that's just some building on some things that you did before, but it's still a new offense, a new defense, a new approach, playing fast versus playing that walk up, look for mismatches kind of offense. The mentality is different. The leaders are different. The role players, everything about this team has some level of newness to it. And I think the first couple of practices probably hammered that home, because one thing I heard from everybody being there is, man, we're really running. We're really getting after it. Lots of guys screaming. Like we talked to.
It sounds exhausting. I'm not. It's
man. I saw assistant coaches walking off like full sweat, just full pouring sweat. Like you probably lost like 3 pounds coaching. How is that? Like, how does that translate to the players who have to like execute everything that you're sweating? Like, that was a great coaching. How can coaching be a better workout than what I'm doing at the gym?
Right.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, I mean, it does, given we just talked about this the other day, how the assistant coaches run with NBA players. It's like, I try to get to the gym pretty consistently. I'm not out there running with NBA players.
Yeah, I was trying to be like cool about it, and you had to pull back the curtain. It makes perfect sense. And I'm 52 at the gym. There's no possible way that I'm working as hard as they are. I'm just trying to get through it. How do I make my knees not hurt as much? But I tell you what, you want my first takeaway? My first takeaway is, if I'm a Portland Trailblazers fan, I am angry about Anfernee Simons. I am angry about what he is saying. I will play you the quotes that I'm like, wow. When I heard, I was like, oh man. Okay, that is coming up next. Today's show is brought to you by Peloton. Peloton is shaping the future of fitness, talking about fitness. If you don't get a chance to run around on the floor with NBA players, try the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus, powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. It's training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. The Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps. It suggests the right weights, and it corrects your form, which might be the most important part of lifting, because with the right form come the right gains, making every rep safer and smarter. The swivel screen is a game changer. You can go from running on the Tread Plus to strength training without missing a beat. And the personalized class recommendations keep you engaged. You get workouts tailored to your vibe and energy level each week. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out the Locked On NBA feed. 2 podcasts. I host Locked On NBA Game Night on Wednesdays with Jake Madison. During the season, it'll be all the games played on Tuesday night, breaking everything down. And then the afternoon show covers all the big storylines in the NBA. So go check that out. 2 podcasts on the same feed there. All right, Tom. Anfernee Simons, like I love the fact that I know that the first part of his quote from Media Day kind of made the rounds and was like, oh, really? Defense is about you wanting to try, and like it's that simple. That's like the first thing about if I'm a Portland fan, like, so you didn't want to try. Right. You didn't care about that.
And before you keep going, I would like to just say he's right.
He is right. No, he's right.
That's just defense. I mean, you can have physical tools that like add on for sure, but like most people in the NBA have those physical tools. Anfernee Simons certainly does. So, yeah,
but he didn't use them in Portland. He didn't use them there. The Portland Trailblazers, a rebuilding team, looking for their stars, looking for their next generation, and Simons is there scoring, and not playing defense. And they're like, so they ended up trading him. The Blazers traded him, a guy you love, for Drew Holiday on a bad contract, what ended up being like a bad contract.
Yeah.
And, Holiday's in his mid-30s, like, and they were like, we'd rather have this guy than Anfernee Simons. Partly because, like, what more message do you need to send? You just got traded for one of the best, still at this age, one of the best defenders, individual defenders in the league. Like, we love your offense. That's great. You're one of, Jordan Poole, you got like plenty of guys out there that can score and put up numbers.
I think he's definitely a richer man's Jordan Poole, I will say.
Sure.
But
sure.
Yes.
But he's in that class right now.
Your point is well taken, yes.
Right? He's in that class. That's the team picture that he's in.
Yeah.
And so to hear him basically say like, yeah, the defense's effort, and I just gotta do it. And like, well, what were you doing for the past few years?
Right. With the same tone of voice as somebody who's like being told, like, I mean, veggies are good for you. I gotta eat them.
Gotta eat them.
I don't
gotta eat them.
Ugh. I mean, I'll do it if I gotta.
Tuesday at practice, a Wednesday at practice, Anfernee Simons says this about the defense that he's learning, and here, just listen.
That's one of the first things when I got here. That's the first things we worked on, is just being a playmaker in that way. Whether it's stabbing at the balls, trying to steal the ball, look at passing lanes, being in the right spot each and every time. And so that's one of the things we drilled for the first 4 weeks I was here, before training camp. So those things, is something I never really worked on or, been taught. And so I was happy that, that was the focus and, we could see, the impact on those 4 weeks of, just working on that stuff.
So on one hand, the Celtics side is he's been at camp 4 weeks before. So he's basically a month.
Yeah, he showed up early.
Yeah. Has been working on the defensive principles, is excited about them. It seems. Yeah. The Celtics are going to have to take chances to force steals and
get the ball.
Get out there and get those turnovers that Joe's been talking about for a couple of years. Like, this is the year you have to start getting those turnovers. Because, side note, you don't have the defense that the Celtics had before. Holiday, White, Jaylen, Jayson, Porzingis protecting the rim, or Horford protecting the rim. You didn't have to gamble for steals. In fact, gambling for steals would put you out of position, and that's not the type of defense you want to pull out of position. That's the defense you're like, let's just challenge shots. We got rebounders. Let's grab the rebounds, and let's just go to the other end of the floor and run our very efficient offense, slower, but still very efficient, and let's just score points and win games. But now you have to take more chances because you can't just challenge shots because your rebounding is not as good. You don't have the same level of defenders. If you just give up certain shots, you're going to get burned. So Simons is part of that. So great. I'm psyched to hear Simons be part of that. But on the Portland side, if I'm hearing that from a Blazers perspective, I'm like, buddy, you're telling me you were never taught defense? So either Simons is taking shots, which probably is true, or Chauncey Billups should be fired and never coach again. So, I think it's obviously Simons is like, oh yeah, you traded me. Watch me throw you under the bus. Yeah, exactly.
Have a grenade.
Again, remember what I said before? Petty league. This is the pettiness right here. It's hilarious from this side, but man, it is wild.
I missed it so much. It's so beautiful to have some soap opera back in our lives.
Oh my God.
It's been missing. It's been missing. Jaylen's like, I'm a little bit sad. And it's like, sure, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure.
Counterpoint.
But the content, though, it will be better. No, I mean,
Simon's like, we never worked on defense. I was never even taught defense. I didn't even know. I blacked out. After I crossed half court, I blacked out for 24 seconds. And then I crossed back over. I'm like, oh, what? Oh, we're back on offense.
You could stand in front of the guy and then move your feet and stay in front of the guy. Did you guys know that?
Portland never told us we could stand in front of a guy. Stand between the guy and the basket? I thought that was illegal. Chauncey Billups told me it was illegal. That's the next step.
I mean, it's very funny. And I think to your point though, right? It's I think if you're the Celtics, this is great because what you're getting is an Anfernee Simons who, one, seems spurned enough by being traded to lob these shots at his old team. But I think more importantly, right? I think you're getting an Anfernee Simons who, okay, I don't know, but it seems like you're getting an Anfernee Simons who got traded to the Celtics, looked around and said, "Oh, dip! I got traded to the Celtics. This is a real team. I got traded. My teammates are now Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum. These are well-respected veterans at this point in the NBA who are winners. And I just got traded to a team that is really focused on winning. I mean, that's great. If you're the Celtics, you're getting a guy who's okay, yeah, should he have tried on defense a little bit before this? Should he have learned a little bit more about defense before this? Yeah, absolutely. But that's a promising sign. He showed up a month early to work on defense.
It's like a breakup where, she's like, yeah, he never paid attention to me. He never gave me flowers, never did me anything nice. And the new girlfriend's like, what are you talking about? Buys me flowers all the time.
Yeah.
Cooked me dinner last night. never asked for it. He's just doing it. He writes me notes. He's like perfect boyfriend. I don't know what you're talking about. And the other, there's like, what? That doesn't make any sense. That's not that. No. You're talking about Anfernee Simons?
You're
not
talking
Anthony.
About you're talking about Anfernee Simons.
Anfernee
right?
Simons. No, Anfernee.
CH, right? That's who you're talking about?
No, Anfernee. Anfernee, the guy with the prayer hands tattoo on his shoulder. Yes. Oh, no way. Yeah, that's where we are.
Yeah.
From a Boston perspective, it is great. It is great because obviously I will take a year of spiteful defense out of Anfernee Simons than, over the year of like, well, he's just who he is and we got to deal with it. You know what I mean? Like that's, and let's not rule out like the Joe Mazzulla aspect in all of this. And we'll come back and talk about it because Joe, the new guys, the way they talk about Joe is for the people who are like not into Joe Mazzulla. This should be like one of the early takeaways as well. Just 2 days in, I think this Simon stuff, some of the other stuff, like Joe Mazzulla, I think is already should be winning people over. We'll come back. We'll talk about that stuff. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. If you're a new customer, this is the time to get involved with FanDuel because if you make a $5 bet as a new customer and you win, you get $300 in bonus bets. So pick a bet, put down $5. If it hits, you unlock 300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So make it count. You can take that into a football game on Sunday. Maybe it's a game that doesn't involve your favorite team, Patriots or not Patriots or whatever. You can sit there and say, okay, let me see what the live line is after one quarter, whichever team is up. Let me see what the live line is. You can get in on that. You can build some player props built on touchdown passes, rushing yards, sacks, all of that stuff. If you want to have a little extra fun watching a football game on a Sunday afternoon, you can have a little bit more fun with FanDuel because you get a little something riding on the action. When you sign up for FanDuel.com, at FanDuel.com, when you sign up, you're going to get the alert to set your budgeting, set your limits. Do that. Whatever you can afford to lose, that's your limit. This way, if you hit a losing streak, it happens, it just stops you. In a couple of weeks, you come back, you pick it back up. Maybe you get a little bit of a heater. Maybe you hit that $5 and you get the $300 in bonus bets and you can pick right back up. So have some fun over there at FanDuel.com. Download the FanDuel app today and get started. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On Fantasy. It's fantasy season, right? Your draft is coming up. Josh Lloyd is the GOAT when it comes to fantasy basketball. Check out Locked On Fantasy wherever you get this podcast and get caught up on everything. I've done a preview for the Celtics and all of that stuff. If you're playing fantasy basketball, Locked On Fantasy is the way to go. All right, let's get back to the conversation here. Because Anfernee Simons and his defense, I think one of the important things was Joe Mazzulla, and it was revealed at practice on Wednesday. It was Joe that initiated the conversation about the defense. And Joe was basically like, hey, you got to be better. You're not as bad as people say you are, but you gotta be better. And this is what
I said that. I called that. I said that. I called it. Anyway, continue.
This is not the place for victory laps. Okay. Anyway, I was right about.
Well, that's bad news for me because I do them all the time.
This is Locked On Victory Lap for sure. You hear Simons talk about Joe and this guy is, doesn't want to be called coach. Just call me Joe. And which I think is normal, but also kind of indicative. And Joe's like, yeah, I'm just the guy. I'm basically their same age. Don't call me coach. I'm just Joe. But you can tell the guys appreciate. I think somebody said it too, where I think it was Simons who's like, this guy cares about who you are personally. And so when he gets on you in practice, you don't take it personally because he cares about like who you are. Ask about the kids. He'll come by the house. He'll do these things. And like in return, he's just like, I'm going to coach you and you got to listen. And when I say things like Joe's going to get frustrated, he's going to MF people. And Simons has said it. I talked to Josh Minot a little bit. Josh Minot's like all in on Joe Mazzulla already. So for anybody who's just been a Joe Mazzulla hater, the new guys who've come in and joined the team, there's no incentive for them to be, crazy Joe Mazzulla lovers, but they immediately have taken to him. And I think when we talk about Simon's defense and him finally like coming through and playing it, some of it is petty. Like I'll do it because Portland traded me and, I'm going to do it just to spite them. But also Joe Mazzulla is asking for it and he's been really good to me. So I'm going to kind of do it for him too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I'm the most interested in watching this year. Cause we talked during the offseason about like how this is an interesting year for Joe Mazzulla. Cause like the Eric Spoelstra thing, right? Where it's like he walks in to the Heat and he's coaching, like super duper stars. And it's like, okay, wow. Did you win championships with that team? Like, you must be so good. But then it turns out like, no, he's actually like an awesome coach. Like one of the best coaches that we've seen in the last few decades. And it's like, I think that there's some real potential for that with Mazzulla. I think certainly, the X's and O's will be interesting. The schematics will be interesting this season. But I think, you don't just like, it doesn't just happen that you get a team of veteran stars to buy in. Like that doesn't just happen by accident, like that doesn't just happen because they want to win. The coach also has to inspire them and has to have the kind of personality that can connect with you. And he did such a good job on a team full of, the guys are all good guys for sure, but good guys can clash too. Like good guys cannot get along too. Like it doesn't always go smoothly. Yeah. And Joe Mazzulla has been so good at getting people to buy in. And so much, that's Simons is a perfect example of this, right? Because the thing that Simons needs to do is the part of the game that requires almost exclusively buy-in. Like defense is all about just buying in. It's one of the reasons, like, he's talking about how Portland didn't teach him X, Y, and Z. It's possible Portland's coaching staff just isn't as good at getting people to buy in on things as Joe Mazzulla is. Like that seems very plausible to me. And I think what's one of the most underrated things about Joe Mazzulla, it's one of the things that the people who don't like him really miss, because it's hard to quantify, right?
Sure.
If you're not on the inside, it's hard to quantify like the way that he connects with players and the way that he gets the best out of players. But like, he's got a pretty good, the track record so far is pretty good. Not bad.
So I'll point to this. Anthony Edwards recently was talking about how the Minnesota Timberwolves need to be more together. Like you can say you're together, you can say you're brothers, but you got to live it. You got to be that. And I think people will by and large say Chris Finch is one of the best coaches in the NBA. And that, first of all, is true. Chris Finch is an incredible coach. Has gotten the most, or I would say the most. It's hard to say not being in Minnesota, but he's gotten, if not the most, close to the most out of his team. And for Anthony Edwards to be like, yeah, we still need to be more together. That's not something you've heard about the Celtics.
Mm-mm.
If nothing else, they are together. And I think, and I will say that the Mazzulla critics will be like, yeah, that's all great. We're not questioning that. We're questioning the 3-point shooting and the volume of 3-pointers and the in-game execution and stuff like that, which, we'll see. We'll see. I think the other side of the Mazzulla stuff is, well, it's obvious that this year's team is not going to shoot as many 3-pointers. And speaking of victory laps, I plan on taking one this year. I'm already stretching out for it. Because I have been saying over the past 2 seasons, I've been trying to tell people this is not about 3-pointers. It's about the best shot available. And this Celtics offense over the past 2 years, Holiday, White, Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Horford, Sam Hauser off the bench, Peyton Pritchard off the bench. Everybody there is a 3-point shooter. At least, at the very worst, you're a good or an average 3-point shooter, right? Jaylen Brown had a down year, but like most guys are at least around average. So it makes sense. You shoot those shots and you attack a defense, they collapse, and you kick it out, catch and shoot 3-pointers for all of these guys. It makes perfect sense. This year's team is not going to do that.
Right.
And so what's happening with this year's team? We're already hearing it. We're already seeing it. It's going to be up-tempo, push the ball, early attacks, multiple attacks. They're going to play a different style. We're going to see a different style of offense. We're going to see fewer 3-pointers. We're going to see that stuff. People see what happened over the past 2 years and with no real context said, well, this is Joe Mazzulla's philosophy. You haven't seen him with these other guys to say, well, is it his philosophy or did he do the actual smart thing that a coach should do,
right,
which is coach to his personnel, which is what he actually did. And this year he's going to coach to his personnel, and that's going to require the things we talked about. More chances taken on defense, trying to force more turnovers, more steals, all of that, getting into your offense quicker, starting your offense earlier in the shot clock, multiple attacks, screens all over the place, cuts all over the place, and trying to score that way. So
yeah,
that's all important.
Yeah. I think that there's probably like a connection to the Joe Mazzulla cares about his players as people and thinks about his players as people and then is able to play to his personnel partly because he's thinking about these guys individually, because of course, he's asking about their kids. He's asking about their home lives. He wants them to feel welcome. He wants them to be a part of the team. And then also he's also thinking about them as basketball players individually. He's not trying to force them into some, I'm guessing, right? I don't think he's going to try to force them into some mold that he thinks it should be. I think you're right. I think that he's looking at the strengths of these guys as people and as players and is going to try to take that and turn that into a winning basketball team. If this team has enough talent for that, I'm interested to see. But I think that that's one of the reasons that I do think that, we earlier when in the summer when we talked about is this team going to be a lottery team? And it's like, probably not, because I think there's enough talent on this team, and I think Joe Mazzulla is going to get that talent out by being cognizant of everybody's strengths and putting those on and putting those in a position to succeed.
My final word is going to be by getting to know people the way he does, you figure out how to coach guys.
Exactly.
You know exactly who can take what. This is where I lean on a little bit of my personal experience, especially in college, where my coach would yell at me when somebody else messed up because there were guys on the team that really couldn't take it from him, but I could. And so he would yell at me, and that was just understanding. All right, Karalis can handle this. I probably screwed up too. But this, if I yell at this guy, he's going to go into a shell, and that's not going to be how he responds. And I think that's how when you get to know guys the way Joe knows them, it's who can take it, who can't, how do you talk to this guy? Because then you observe in their family life, how does he interact with his wife? How does he interact with his kids? You start to understand okay, this is who this person is. And so when it comes to coaching, how do I get the most out of this guy? Well, this is how his family gets the most out of him. This is how I'm going to get the most out of him.
Yeah.
And so that is all super important. And that is NBA coaching. All right. Well, we'll see. Thursday off day for the Celtics, but Friday, Saturday, they will practice. And so that's all going to be in the Monday show. For now, wrapping this up, Tom, thank you so much. Appreciate it as always. Appreciate all of you listening, watching, the everydayers here Monday through Friday. The show's free, so you don't have to pay for anything. Show's daily, Monday through Friday. When the season starts, Friday game, Saturday game, post-game podcast here. So make sure you're subscribed. Plenty of stuff here. It's all available for you everywhere. Get into the comment section, share your thoughts with me, share your thoughts with the fellow Celtics fans, and then share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.